Hi, Democrats. Today is Monday, April 19th. It's the day that we recognize that 26 years ago, here in our state, our great state, we had at the time the largest domestic terrorism event that happened in our country. And so just wanted to take a little bit of time to recognize that, acknowledge that, and commemorate it. It's been kind of a somber day. But, we do have to take the time to acknowledge it. I am a firm believer that if we don't learn from our history, we are doomed to repeat it. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. Every day I come on at 4:15 with the intention of talking to you about bills, elected officials, and elections. And so today is no different. So I want to talk about bills, and usually I'm talking about advocating for or against one bill, or for or against a bundle of bills that are, about the same thing. Because I am a firm believer that advocacy works. I hear it from our elected officials. I see it in their tweets that they want us to call. They want to hear our input, at least the Democrats, that they want to hear from us. And so I am really going to always advocate that we are in touch with our elected officials. So this week is deadline week in the legislature. So everything has to be heard and decided this week. And so this is a week that if you haven't made any phone calls, you need to be making phone calls. And so I'm going to take each day and talk about a particular group of bills, because instead of looking at Oklahoma as a whole and addressing our infrastructure, healthcare in a meaningful way, we had a bunch of bills presented by the majority party that are solutions looking for a problem, right? And so I'm going to talk about the gun bills that were put in front of our legislature this cycle. I stopped counting at 20, I think it was 22 active bills that had the word gun or firearm in them that are here in our state, gun or firearm. We don't need that many bills. And a bunch of them were duplicates, right? It was like, I want to be the one that says you can take guns into schools. I want to be the one that says you can take a gun to the Capitol. Why do we need guns? Why do we need a teacher's aide with a gun? Why do we need guns at the Capitol? I'm all for safety. I'm all for people exercising their Second Amendment right. I just wish that we could talk about it in reasonable context. So some of them were, I counted like 3 that talked about, can you carry a gun in your car and how many bullets you can have, honestly. But the thing that I really want to kind of point out, like I said, at 22, I stopped counting. I got frustrated because, it's not just counting how many times it says gun, but reading it, and they just kind of made me mad. But there are 2 that I want to call your attention to so that you are aware that this is what's happening. So since the beginning of the year, there have been 147 mass shootings in the United States. And mass shooting means more than 3 people were hit with a bullet. I'm just going to say that. They don't all die, whatever, but 147. And it's April 19th. In the last 30 days, there have been 45 mass shootings. There was one or 2 every day this weekend. If Scott could indulge me and put that map up there again. Look at how many red dots are in Oklahoma, right? There are no red dots in Oklahoma. So earlier when I said we have a bunch of bills that are solutions looking for problems, we haven't had any, but we have a preponderance of laws addressed at it. And the biggest one that I absolutely want to mention, and I hope I'm saying your name. I'm just going to call you Miss Hicks so I don't say your name wrong. This is exactly the problem. They're trying to make Oklahoma the wild, wild west. There is a bill and it has a number, which means it will be heard this week. It is SB 631. The goal of SB 631 is to make Oklahoma a Second Amendment sanctuary state, which means if you don't want people asking you about your guns or you're in trouble with your guns from another state, come to Oklahoma. We're not going to ask you any questions. Come hang out here while you figure out what you're doing with your life. If they're causing problems in other places, why do we want them here? Why do we want them here? The same thing with the NRA. There's another bill, and I didn't write down the number for it. We want the bankrupt NRA to come to Oklahoma. Why? Why? What do we gain as a state for inviting a bankrupt organization to come and make their home here? Whew. Please call your legislators and tell them that we in Oklahoma have more important issues to address than how many guns we can carry in our cars, how many guns we can take into bars and schools and the Capitol. There are things. We have falling down bridges. We have kids who don't have access to education who aren't participating. We have communities where people live and they have to drive over an hour to get to the hospital. Those are things that we could be addressing, but we're making up things to address. So I just, I'm begging you in this week, if you don't do it today, you have until Thursday. Call your legislator, be them Democrat or Republican, be you rural or urban. Call your legislators and encourage them to use common sense as they apply the gun laws. All right, so that's the bills. Talked a little bit longer than I intended to, but it's super important. And there are just too many elected officials to talk about with regards to the gun laws, because it felt like as I was reading it, every Republican wanted to get their name on one of them. I don't like to bash a whole party, but geez Louise, guys, we have other things to focus on. All righty, so elections, May 11th, June 8th, all over the state, we have propositions that will be on the ballot. So those are, I don't want to call them election days, but those are days that we vote on things. So that's May 11th and June 8th. It is not too late to register for either of them, as well as it is not too late to register for your absentee ballot. I'm going to take a little bit of time and talk about absentee ballots because a lot of people are like me, right? I got both my shots and I'm past my 2 weeks. I feel all brave and immunized, still sitting at home, as you guys can tell, still sitting at home. But people are tired of being at home. And for some reason, people think, well, we got COVID under control. I can go stand in line at the ballot box. You can, but why should you? Do your absentee ballot. Just do your absentee ballot. Have the ballot sent to your home. You can do your research, color it in, and mail it back at your leisure as long as you get it back in time. Do not drop absentee ballots. Absentee ballots absolutely help our candidates. Don't drop absentee ballots. Please sign up for your absentee ballots. It's at Oklahoma State Election Board. Oklahoma State Election Board, I think it's .gov. Go out, sign up for that, get it sent to you. You don't have to wait in line. There are germs in line. You don't have to wait in line. Sign up for your absentee ballot. That's all I have for today. I know it was kind of a bummer, but advocacy is a big deal and we cannot lose focus of it. And this week it is super important. You guys have a great day and I'll be back tomorrow at 4:15.